to clearly define a customer need in the problem space before you develop and validate a solution. Google or Alphabet also adopts this approach in 3 easy steps. They start with knowing the user to solve a big question. They then think 10-time improvement before moving on to prototyping. Prototyping also provides feedback to validate and improve the problem definition. It is therefore an iterative process, moving from the problem space into the solution space and back until you have found a workable problem-solution fit, while at the same time also considering business viability. Although we think about the innovation discovery and development process in linear terms, the 3 criteria always overlap in application. During feasibility testing, remember to fail often, fail fast and cheap. You need to disprove the most critical hypothesis about your proposed solution as fast and as cost-effectively as possible before escalating your resource commitment. The trick is to spend a little to learn a lot and as fast as possible. The best way to do this is by building a minimum viable product or MVP. A MVP represents the smallest set of activities needed to disprove hypothesis. You therefore start by only building the minimum features required to test your largest unknown without searching for perfection. This concept was popularized by Eric Ries and is best described by Brandon Showers' cupcake metaphor. Rather than starting with an unappealing dry cake with no filling or icing, start with a cupcake and build it up from there. A MVP does not always have to be a workable prototype, but could also represent concept descriptions, sketches, wire diagrams, videos, etc. The object is therefore not to build a complete product that has all the desired features, as this will be too costly. However, you have to be careful how you execute this. The emphasis is on iterating the build, measure, learn process and not to rush a feature-poor product out the door and risk your reputation in the market. There are 3 potential outcomes to a MVP test. First, if your initial key hypotheses are validated, you should persevere by further developing and testing your solution. Second, if hypotheses are invalidated, then you could pivot by revising your business model elements in accordance with the learning obtained. Third, if showstopper assumptions are invalidated, or if pivoting is not possible, then the idea should perish without extending more resources. MVP testing is done until you have found a solution market fit by validating most of your key assumptions. Only then should you start perfecting your product, building your company, and scale. Let's look at some examples. Spotify, the online music streaming service, uses a 4-stage iterative product cycle comprising think it, build it, ship it, and tweak it. During the build it phase, they create a physical MVP ready for user testing. To do this, they use small product teams to first build low-fidelity paper prototypes or wireframes to test the basic value proposition internally before spending more money on high-fidelity, runnable prototypes that are tested in the market. Airbnb is another example where the founders used a MVP to test the market appeal of their innovation. The MVP consisted of online advertising targeted at conference attendees, photos of their apartment, some air mattresses, free Wi-Fi, and breakfast. This allowed them to validate their first and most critical assumption. Would strangers be willing to pay to stay in our home? The MVP cost them almost nothing, but provided validation that they were on the right path. In addition, the MVP test provided them with actual revenue from their first 3 customers and an opportunity to develop more traction. Technological feasibility testing primarily seeks to answer if we can build and deliver the solution. The best feasibility testing approach depends on the innovation novelty, type, and technical complexity involved with the proposed innovation. Ask yourself the following questions. What is the nature of the technical gap that needs to be filled and the technical complexity of the required solution? If the solution is known, straightforward, and commercially available with few barriers, then a MVP would work well. Otherwise, more formal R&D may be required. This would also impact the time horizon of the project. How familiar are you with the technology, and does the technological know-how required exist on the market? This will have a negative impact on your ability to iterate fast and will increase costs if you need to obtain the required knowledge and skills. How dependent are you on the technology or expertise of others? Innovation mostly implies novel combinations of existing technologies. That said, it is important that you should have access to and control over the secret source of your innovation. If you rely on someone else's proprietary technologies, you must ensure that it is safe to use and that supply is secure. Are the enabling technologies or infrastructure required for your solution available? For example, an electric vehicle would struggle to generate mass market adoption in the absence of widely available charging stations. Technical feasibility testing is difficult as we do not have a universal approach. One universal rule to remember is to always consider the problem space while in the solution space. Innovation is not solely a technological problem, but rather a design problem. Your design should provide a simple, elegant solution that gets the job done. In doing so, you have to ensure that you test and apply learning as fast as possible. Do not flog a dying horse. Remember, to never fail to fail.